In this time of remote working, we're all using video calls, and for many of us, it is a totally new world that we've never been exposed to before. For some of us, we've used it before. So the purpose of this video is to teach you how to look as professional as you possibly can on a video call. I'm not talking about hair and makeup, I'm talking about lighting, angles, and audio. So we're going to jump into it. So before I get into lighting, angles, and audio, I want to cover a couple key things first. This is an image from a video chat that was put on Facebook. And as you can see by this image, there are some people within the video chat that have very obvious home video call setups at home. They've done this before, they have everything set up. And then there's a couple of people that they might be new at this and they don't quite look as professional as they possibly could. If you look in the bottom of this image, you'll notice that one of the participants is using their phone, not their laptop, which is totally fine. But what they've done is they've turned their phone vertically. Maybe it's so that they could sit it up on something. What I would recommend is for you to turn your phone horizontally and then have it sit on something. The whole purpose of a video call is to be able to see everyone. And if you turn it that way, the little square that Zoom gives you, you will fill it instead of only using up a third of it. So that's always a good practice. The next thing you want to make sure of is where your camera is. So I'm looking right into the camera at you right now, but a lot of people aren't necessarily sure where their camera is. Some people have two monitors, and I've actually been on video calls where the person's looked at the wrong monitor the whole time. So what you want to do is when you get your preview window, you want to do the thumb test. So take your thumb. Yeah, that was the camera lens. Okay, so if you're put your thumb where you think the camera lens is and then look at your preview screen, and if your thumb's not covering it, then you're looking at the wrong place. So that's really important. Whenever you are talking to the group, you want to look at the camera lens whenever you can. Speaking of your preview window, use it. Set up your shot according to it. So let's get into the three major things. The first thing we're going to do is talk about angles. Now, what a lot of people do when they're on a laptop is they bend the laptop to change the angle. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is you want to make sure that your face is in not the middle of the screen, but a little bit above it. And the best way to do that is with books. So if you have a laptop, what I would like you to do is I want you to raise your computer, the whole thing, until it's higher up so that you aren't doing this. You set it up at 90 degrees and you lift like this. Watch. One book. See the difference? Two books. Now what you want to do is you want to get to the place where you can't really see the ceiling. Because when you can see the ceiling, you can probably see up your nose. So you don't want that. And then here's my last book. Okay, now I'm going to tilt the monitor down. The monitor, the top of the laptop is at a 90-degree angle. And now look, made a big difference already. Now, before we get to the next part, I'm going to talk about the background. See the background? We're going to change that. Now, we all know that we're stuck in our houses and no one's going to judge too much where your workstation is. Mine is in my bedroom to avoid the kids, but you do want to make it look as clean as you possibly can. Now, we've raised up the laptop. If you're using a webcam, you want to be able to change your monitor or change your seat, and that might mean sitting on books. You don't necessarily have to do that for all video calls, but if you are doing an important call with media, these are things that you really want to do. Next up is lighting. And the first thing we're going to do is if you look at this image again, you'll notice the woman on the bottom is doing something that I see a lot of people doing, and that is having windows behind them. They think it's going to help with lighting, but actually for video, it makes it worse. Let me show you what happens when I move my laptop and put the window behind me. So as you can see, my computer's fighting with it, and it's not as bad as it is in the image that I've showed you, but it's not super great. So you don't want to have windows behind you. If your office is set up so that there's only a window behind your desk, watch what this does. See the difference? Makes a big difference right away. One of the biggest things that can make a difference is just a small desk lamp. If you have a small desk lamp, if you have another lamp that you can move from your room into wherever your desk is while we're in the middle of the situation, it makes a big difference. So I'm going to turn on a desk lamp that has a 40-watt bulb in it, and I'm not going to point it at my face, and you'll see the difference between this and this. Now, I'm not pointing it at my face. I'm pointing it kind of at the back of my computer, but you can see a big difference. Watch what happens if I do try to point it at my face. There's a bit of a direct shine. This also goes for windows that might be on the other side of your computer. If you have one, it may be easier to close the window if you're getting direct sunlight, and then add a desk lamp instead of having the window shine on you. So for the light, you don't need to shine it directly on you. You just need to have it just a little bit so that you do have some light. There we go. See, I'm checking my preview minute, and then watch again for the difference if I don't have the light. No light, light. So we have angles and we've done lighting. The last part is audio. Now, for audio, you might have just heard my kids run around in the background. Audio is super important, and what you want to do is you want to find, if you can, a 3.5 millimeter jack headset that has a microphone on it. For those techies out there, the classic is the Apple White headset. The reason why I suggest this is one of the best ones that you can get is because a lot of people have wireless headphones right now. I have a pair right here. For computers and for taking video calls, sometimes there's a delay in the audio, and sometimes it cannot be the cleanest audio. So that can be audio that you're hearing, and it can be also audio that you're saying. So if you can get your hands on one of these, you really, really want to be able to do it. So check in drawers, ask your kids if they still have them, because this is not the connector that they use for iPhones anymore. So they could be hard to find. Now, I want you to hear the difference in the audio. This is the audio before anything was plugged in, and this is what it sounds like when you do have a microphone. So if you see people on video calls and they have earbuds in, they're not being unprofessional, they're actually trying to make sure that you have the best possible experience for your video call. So that's it. That's lighting, audio, and angles. I hope this information helped you, and I hope it helps you feel that much more confident and comfortable with video calls moving forward.